Why has Viktor Orban from the Ukraine have the leftist, liberal, and the media in a twirl? It's because of his nationalist populist message, similar to Donald Trump's, similar to what we've seen with the breakfast movement and the people involved in that. And all in all, his systems seem to be working. And they can't take that. Well, that's according to him. So let's read it a little bit. Now, in an interview with Fox News, Orbán had a couple of things to say, which to us, more to centrists or to the right, seem to have been what we want to happen in the rest of the world, but what seems to be scaring the leftist populists. According to Viktor Orban, his policies, which includes stopping migrants, illegal migrants from entering the country, and a lot of other countries have now followed suit with this because they've realized that you can only spend so much money from other people's money that it becomes non-sustainable at the end of the day, and it affects your whole country. So the Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban believes that his government is targeted for criticism because the liberal left cannot bear to see a country that promotes a Christian national identity over multiculturalism, strong borders, and traditional value seeking. Now that is the kind of leader that I want. That is the kind of leader that will make me want to move to his country, even though I cannot understand a word that they say. Quizzed by Tucker Carlson on why, as a former anti-communist descendant once admired in the West, he believes left liberal politicians such as US President Joe Biden now characterize his government and that of allied conservative countries as totalitarian. Orban said he believes that the problem with him and with Hungary is the success. So what inspired is Joe Biden came out and he said that he's a dictator, basically, in so many words, which is kind of ironic if you take what's happening in America, and that is really becoming totalitarian and a very undemocratic at the moment, it seems, with 50% of the country wanting one thing and 50% of the country wanting something else. And that doesn't give a lot of margin for, 70-30 type of split where you say, okay, well, 30% don't want it, so the majority wants it. Now we sit in a situation where we have 38% Trump supporters, and then we have conservatives or more the middle type people. We have around about 10, maybe 15% of them. And if you look at the statistics on how many people like Biden's policies, there's a lot of people that are very upset that they actually voted for him because they didn't realize the consequence of that. Unfortunately, that comes with people who don't read and who don't follow the news and who want to be oblivious of what's going on around them. This also comes as Macron from France came out against the liberal movements that he doesn't want in his country, specifically which is specific to the race theory that is currently making the rounds, and is making news all over the place, because it basically says that all white people are racist and nothing you do can ever make up for that, which isn't true. But let's let the governments fight about that one. The problem is that Macron has now seen that his competition is a very conservative lady, and she's growing in popularity because the multiculturalism and other types of open borders and other types of policies are killing cultures which have been around for hundreds of thousands of years. And letting go of your culture and your identity is really a bad thing. And we in South Africa understand that concept, and eventually it does it splits the country, because the one person or the one group of people have one identity and the others have another identity, and putting all of that into one and trying to force people, because what's going to happen is you're going to be forcing one portion of the country to adopt whatever the government says is the correct way, and that is not the right way of doing things. Multiculturalism will never be adopted properly, because you cannot force people to do something they don't want to do. Doesn't matter if you call it a democratic election, some are going to benefit, the ones that want that kind of thing, but the other people that don't want this thing, in this case conservatives, they will reject this, and there will be consequences to this, as we saw on the insurrection of the 6th of January, which CNN can't help talking about because they can't find any other topic points. I think they've lost the degree of news, and they're all a bunch of talk show hosts, which everybody agrees to on YouTube, basically. Now, economically, politically, culturally, even in demography, let's call it that, we have some success. Family policies. So what you can see here could be described as a success story. But the fundamentals of this success is totally different than it is wished by many other Western countries, he explained. Indeed, the family policy Orban refers to, which entails a generous package of tax breaks, government-backed loans for family cars and homes, student debt forgiveness for mothers, grandparents' leave, and other policies designed to support natural population growth, flies in the face of prevalent wisdom in much of the West, which is that Westerners have children exacerbates climate change. Sorry for not being able to pronounce and even understand some of these big words these guys use in the paper. I don't know why they do that, because not everybody is English speaking, and my vocabulary in English is quite limited. Exacerbates. Okay, that's the word. So let's try it again, which is that Westerners having children exacerbates climate change, and mass migration is the only solution to an aging population. In thesis, Orban's government categorically rejects. The Western liberals cannot accept that inside Western civilization there is a conservative national alternative which is more successful at the level of everyday life than the liberal ones. That's the reason why they criticize us, Orban said. They are fighting for themselves, not against us. But we are an example that somebody or a country which is based on traditional values or national identity based on tradition and tradition and Christianity could be successful, or something even more successful, that is the left liberal government. Okay, so this is really, really interesting because Viktor Orban was the person who said that George Soros is not allowed in his country, and if he puts his foot in Hungary, he will be prosecuted and locked up. Now, there's a reason for that, because he's opened his eyes, or he's had his eyes open for a while, and he knows what a dangerous person this is and how he plays the politics. Now, Viktor Orban in Donald Trump lost a great deal. He talks about Netanyahu, the guy from Israel as well. I don't know him that well. I know he's got corruption charges up against him, but but to be dead honest, what government official or minister or prime minister in the world at the moment doesn't have anything against him? Joe Biden's got some very inconspicuous problems that he's facing along with his son. The unfortunate thing with that is that everybody closes their eyes for that, but Trump, who comes out every time they try and pin something on him, he comes back and says, people come back and say, okay, well, we investigated, there's nothing yet to see. Now, I think the same thing applies with Viktor Orban. He is who he is, and what you see is what you get. And I think taking a stance like that is very difficult. But you see the impact of these open borders in a country like South Africa, where the majority of people are black, and it doesn't become a race thing. It becomes a tribe thing, more tribalist thing, because we have xenophobic attacks, which isn't aimed at white people. It's aimed at other black people from other countries, Zimbabwe, from Congo, Zimbabwe, the countries that are very close to us, Zimbabwe. So this is not a race thing that everybody tries to make it out to be. This is, people are aware that their jobs are being taken by other cultures or other people. Now, if you look at Zimbabwe, a lot of people are employing Zimbabweans because they've got a great work ethic. At the moment, they see the value because they went through what South Africa is trying to implement, the land expropriation without compensation. So they've been through that in 2000 and 2001, where property was taken away from white farmers. And the country is in dire straits as a result of this. And this makes them, this gives them the edge in front of South Africa. And they see what's happening in South Africa. And they come to South Africa because they can't afford to live in their own country. It's become too expensive to live there. There's a clear divide between rich and poor, and the influential. The government is totally corrupt, and their voting systems are farce. So, and then I've got another one. Let's see. Conservative fellow travelers Tucker Carlson drops in on Viktor Orban. This week the talk show host has been in Hungary, where Prime Minister Viktor Orban hopes to set up a ideological center for a global conservative movement. Guys, so Viktor Orban is becoming a very dangerous person for the left. Now, getting airtime from Tucker Carlson makes him a huge danger and gives him a huge platform for America and keeps that whole Donald Trump vision of nationalism and my country first. And I think that is the problem with liberals. They do not believe in that, and I don't understand why. But anyway, there's a lot I don't understand. Guys, if you can support Ground News, please do so. So what is Ground News? Ground News is a fact-checking company, but not in the sense that we have all over the place now. They basically take a couple of articles from big and registered with them, so you can actually tell them this is our newspaper in this place and you need to rate it. So what they do is they give it a rating, they explain how the rating works, then they give you the same article and they say, okay, this article is written on a leftist point, this one is centrist, and this one is more to the right. It's not a lot of money. I mean, if you take the pro account, which I have at the moment, it's 83 cents a month. Premium is $2.49 a month. So basically what you do is this gives you the opportunity to look at news in a different way, in a different manner, and it gives you all the newspapers that they have registered, and then categorizes what is going on in that specific story. As you can see from here, bias conservative distribution. So in other words, it'll give it a mark of leftist 54%, centrist 31%, and then a 15% on the right. And it gives you all the publications: US Today, ABC News, Pioneer Press, WHDH, which I don't know, NBC Washington, Houston Chronicle, and Las Vegas Sun. So there's a very huge bunch of newspapers and news articles that they go through. Obviously here is your more centrist, and Associated Press, The Hill, Sky News, and WPLG, whoever that is. So if you can support, there's a link in the description below. Please click and support this. There is a free version of Ground News that you can install to test and try, and then you can upgrade as you want. It's also got enablement for desktop notifications, and it's got an extension which is, if installed, goes at the top there. What I have found is they don't spam you the way that other newspapers spam you. So, and by doing and registering and supporting them, you actually do support this channel, not financially, but I'm actually registered, and when you take out a paid package on this, I actually get a 1 month for free. So it's not a financial incentive for me, but there is an incentive that I don't have to pay for that month. Okay, great guys, see you tomorrow. That's if I can find the button.